Now, following up on a promise that I made on stream when I was helping people through the Grandmaster Nightfall version of the Heist Battlegrounds Europa, I'm going to give you guys my Solar Warlock build that's going to be pretty effective for that Grandmaster, and I think the upcoming Grandmasters as well. Let's not waste any time and dive right into it. So for our exotic armor and weapon, these are two things that I have not pulled out of the vault in a while, and they ended up being super effective, and there is a unique interaction that you can get. So first up, going over the exotic armor, we're going to be using the Phoenix Protocol. This thing is pretty sweet, but we have two ornaments here. We have this one, and then we have my favorite, which I think this is a lot of people's favorite. It's just a very cool design. But the main portion is the perk, right? Battle Hearth kills and assists while you are standing in your Well of Radiance, returns super energy. Now note, you do only get the bonus to super energy when the well is below 50%. So once you hit that 50% threshold halfway on the super bar, you're not going to get any bonus, basically percent for your super on any other kills you get. Yes, you're going to be able to get the super faster if you get kills in the well in general, but you will not get the bonus. And note that your first kill is going to start off at 10%, and then for each successive kill, it's going to minus by 1.5 all the way down to 4% for each kill. And the really good thing is that if you have your teammates helping you out in the well, you can get the super back faster. You know, if they're getting multi-kills, creating orbs of power, or if another teammate has a well and they plant it on you, there's more orbs of power there. It's very easy to get the super for this back to back. Now, like I mentioned, the weapon we are using is the Hierarchy of Needs bow. Again, this is the exotic drop from the Spire of the Watcher dungeon. It does have an ornament this season, which is kind of neat, but the main thing is the perks. Guidance Ring. Precision hits and final blows build Guidance Ring energy. Opposing Guardians grant additional energy. Again, we're not really going to take advantage of that, but at full charge, the hip firing creates a Guidance Ring. We also have a less static string, fiberglass arrow shaft, and then Apollonic Tangent. Arrows fired through the Guidance Ring release seeking projectiles, which do more damage based on distance traveled. And then for the catalyst, deploying a Guidance Ring or striking a target with a seeking projectile improves draw time and reload speed for a moderate duration, essentially allowing you to spam this bow through the Guidance Ring. Obviously, we want to take advantage of certain things on the seasonal artifact this time around. And again, for Grandmaster, personally for me, I had the Piercing Bowstring, which makes my exotic bow, Hierarchy of Needs, anti-barrier, so I can pop those anti-barrier shields. And I also was rocking a Stasis Fusion Rifle, Deliverance, and had Unstoppable Fusion, so I can take care of those champions as well. Now, the next ones are kind of important for this build. First up is Semi-Auto Striker. If you have fewer than 2 stacks of armor charge, rapid precision shots with bows, you know, we're going to be using a bow. Snipers and scout rifles generate an armor charge, so as long as we hit those headshots, we get a free armor charge out of it, as long as we have less than 2. Next up, Monochromatic Maestro. Dealing elemental ability damage increases matching weapon damage, and elemental weapon damage increases matching ability damage. Bonus granted is 10% for 5 seconds. We are going to be using Well of Radiance, the Solar Warlock, and so with our solar weapons, those get free bonus damage, which is fantastic. And then lastly, I like this one, Rapid Fire Ranger. Rapid precision hits against distant combatants weaken them for a short duration. All you need is 2 headshots with the bow, and you get a free weaken proc. Now, under the Dawnblade subclass, obviously, we're going to be using the Well of Radiance super. Again, it's the whole thing with the exotic, being able to get that super back very fast so we can pop it for good survivability, orb creation, and good damage with our weapons. For our abilities, I like the Healing Rift here. And then for movement, I like Burst Glide, but you can use what you like. For the melee, I personally like Celestial Fire. Yes, you won't be able to get the ignition off like you would with Incinerate or Snap, but again, if we are going to be at a distance, you know, tougher activities, I want to be able to launch that out to potentially cause an ignition as well. For the grenade, you do have a multitude of options here. I do like the Healing Grenade for endgame stuff for myself and my teammates. And note, I am using Touch of Flame, which does give a bonus to that Healing Grenade, basically increasing the cure and restoration effects, which is really good. But if you wanted to rock the Solar Grenade, the Firebolt Grenade, and the Fusion Grenade to get those bonuses from Touch of Flame as well, you can. Again, Solar Grenade, it's going to do the Lava Blobs. Firebolt Grenade, basically increase radius and target count. And Fusion explodes twice, as we know. And then for your second aspect, you can either go with Heat Rises or Icarus Dash. Again, if you want to dodge in midair to, you know, get in and out of engagements, that's totally fine. If you want Heat Rises, you know, if you want to get kills in the air if you're far away with the bow, and, you know, getting your melee back even faster, you know, consuming the grenade to get Heat Rises, to get cure, all this other stuff. Again, you could totally do all that stuff, but the main one here is Touch of Flame. For Fragments, I have a little bit of a different setup than I normally do, because obviously a lot of solar builds rely on Ember of Torches for Radiant and Ember of Empyrean to keep up Restoration and Radiant stacks, but for this one, we're doing something a little different, which is going to focus on ignitions. So first up here, we're going to be using Ember of Combustion. Final blows with the Solar Super causes targets to ignite and creates a fire sprite. It is a +10 to strength. What's really cool is that if you're standing in the well and using the bow and you get kills with Hierarchy of Needs through the Guidance Ring, guess what? Those targets explode in a solar ignition. It's Absolutely insane. I'm not sure why it is, but it just works out. It's crazy. Next up, Ember of Char. Your Solar Ignition spreads Scorch to affected targets. That's a plus 10 to Discipline. So now any of those targets that explode spread Scorch, which can also cause more ignitions. Next up, I do like Ember of Eruption here. Your Solar Ignitions have increased area of effect. It's a plus 10 to Strength. If you want to replace this with Ember of Singeing, I do like this one as well. Your class ability recharges faster when you scorch targets. So now we can get that healing rift back faster. So you can go with either one. Then lastly, highly recommend Ember of Ashes. You apply more scorch stats to targets, which means, guess what? More potential ignitions. Now let's go over the armor mods that I'm using, starting with the helmet. First up here, I'm using Harmonic Siphon, which translates to Solar Siphon. So if I get those rapid solar weapon final blows, that's a free orb of power. Next up, I do like Heavy Ammo Finder. Again, in endgame activities, heavy ammo is going to be key. Then lastly, I'm personally using Font of Wisdom here. There's a reason for that, but you gain a bonus to intellect while you have any armor charge. Your armor charge not decays over time. Again, you get armor charges by collecting orbs of power, and with any of these blue mods, puts a timer on the armor charge of 10 seconds. If you have 3 armor charges, that is 30 seconds of pretty much this bonus to intellect, which if you have one of these blue mods on, that's a plus 30 to that stat. And if you see my intellect here, it's only at tier 7, it's at 70. So once I have one armor charge rolling, it pretty much makes my intellect 100. So now I have the fastest cooldown for my Well of Radiance. If you have a higher intellect or don't want to use this, I would recommend putting on the Heavy Ammo Scout mod again, so you can have that heavy ammo for your teammates as well. On the gauntlets here, I personally like Focusing Strike. Grants class ability energy when you cause damage with a melee attack, and then Double Impact Induction. When I cause damage with a melee attack, it reduces my grenade cooldown. As long as I get hits with my melee attack, I get a cooldown for my grenade and my healing rift. If you did want to replace one of the impact inductions with something like Harmonic Loader, again, that will increase the reload speed of your solar weapons. On the chest piece, I am using Harmonic Reserves, which translates to Solar Reserve, so now I can get more ammo for my solar weapons. I am using a Solar Heavy, so I definitely want more ammo for that. And then you can honestly use whatever resistance mods you want, or if you wanted to put on more reserve mods, you can totally do so. For the boots here, I am rocking double Solar Weapon Surge, so now I will gain a small bonus to damage while you have any armor charge. Your armor charge now decays over time, similar to the Font of Wisdom on the helmet. This just applies to my solar weapons, and these do stack, so now I get bonus damage for my solar weapons, aka the bow. And then I do like recuperation here, so when I pick up Orb of Power, it does give me health back. And then last on the class item here, I am using Bomber and Outreach. So when I use my class ability, it reduces the cooldown for my grenade and my melee. And then I am using Reaper. So after I use my class ability, my next weapon final blow will spawn an Orb of Power. Now for stats to focus on, first up, we talk about it every video. Try to have tier 10 100 resilience. It's going to give you a 30% damage reduction in PvE. Now for the next one, I would focus on Discipline. Again, Discipline is tied to grenade stat. And as you can see, I have tier 10, so I have the fastest grenade cooldown possible, which means I can have that healing grenade for myself or my teammates as quickly as possible. I do have tier 7 intellect. Again, intellect is tied to how fast you can get that super back. And just note the reason it's tier 7 is because I am using Font of Wisdom. If you're not using Font of Wisdom, you can make this even higher, you know, bring it all the way up to 100 if you would like. I would focus on strength. Strength is tied to the melee, and obviously we want to take advantage of that with the gauntlet mods here. But outside of that, the main one here is going to be resilience. Now for weapon options, outside of Hierarchy of Needs, I would recommend a fusion rifle if there are unstoppable champions, because again, we do have unstoppable fusion this season in the first column. And again, I have a deliverance here with Chill Clip, that's fantastic, but there are strand and other stasis, you know, just fusion rifles in general. You have Riptide from the Crucible, which is very easy to obtain and have a good roll for PvE. So I'd highly recommend that. And then I am using a Solar Heavy, like I mentioned. I have this crafted Apex Predator here with Bait and Switch Reconstruction. Basically, any Solar Heavy that is going to be really good. I prefer Rockets for this Heist Battleground Europa. It just does really good damage to the Shrieker for final. But for example, let's say there's Overload Champions instead of Unstopped Champions. We still have Anti-Barrier with the bow. You can put on Overload Machine Gun on the artifact, and then you can put on Machine Gun, that Solar, whatever machine gun that you like, and now you can stun those Overload Champions with that machine gun. You do have a multitude of options. As long as you have good PvE weapons in general, you'll pretty much be set here. Now, if you got through all that and you're still a little confused about how this build works, I'm going to break it down for you, but honestly, it's pretty simple. All you need to do is get your super and abuse how effective Hierarchy of Needs can be. So let's say we're just starting out. The main thing is basically getting our super. So we want to abuse just our weapons and our abilities and our arsenal. Obviously, with Hierarchy of Needs, the really good thing here is being able to stand back, hit headshots, get kills with it to get that Guidance Ring, which once you get Guidance Ring rolling, if there are a bunch of ads around, you can easily get Guidance Ring procced again. You can have multiple rings procced at the same time, which is really good. And being able to have that free bonus damage from just shooting the arrow, whether it's hip fire or aiming down sight through the ring, is good. Plus, either way, you can stun those anti-barrier champions, whether it's through the Guidance Ring or not. Obviously, we can create Orbs of Power with Solar Siphon and Reaper on our armor mods. Again, with Impact Induction and Focusing Strike, we get cooldowns for our Grenade and our Healing Rift if we just get hit with our melee. Again, collecting those Orbs of Power gives us armor charges, which means now we have double Solar Weapon Surge, so now Hierarchy of Needs hits even harder, and Font of Wisdom, which is going to max out our intellect all the way up to 100, so now we have an even faster cooldown for that Healing Rift. So now that we have our Well of Radiance, what do we want to do? First thing is being able to pop it in an optimal location where ads are going to spawn so you can shoot them with Hierarchy of Needs, preferably when you have Guidance Ring proc, because again, if you launch it through that, you get kills with the bow while you're in the super. They ignite and spread Scorch around. Again, Ember of Combustion. Any of those final blows with the Solar Super, quote unquote, aka the bow, is going to ignite those targets. Again, Ember of Char, any ignition spreads Scorch. With Ember of Eruption, the ignitions are even bigger. Plus, with Ember of Ashes, the Scorch stacks are even more, causing even more ignitions. It's basically free ad clear, and the really good thing is, too, is that it causes really good DPS on targets for a primary weapon, hilariously enough. Now, say you and your teammates are just getting a bunch of kills in the well, it's very, very likely that you're going to be at way higher than 50% with your super back by the time the Well of Radiance runs out, which means, number one, all your teammate has to do is be able to generate some Orbs of Power, or you're generating Orbs of Power, you can go pick those up, have your super again, or if you have another teammate with a well, you can pretty much spam wells back to back as long as orbs are being created in general. Now, no, I did not come up with this build. I saw some stuff on Twitter. People in my Discord said, hey, David, you should test this out for yourself, find out what's optimal for it. And that's what I did. I had to whip out a Phoenix Protocol from the vault that I haven't touched in forever, and then Hierarchy of Needs, which I haven't touched since Season of the Seraph. And it's hilariously enough a very good combo. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is essentially my updated Phoenix Protocol build for Endgame content. I'm actually going to put the dim link for this build in the description, so if you want to copy everything that I'm using, down to the weapons, the armor mods, everything on the subclass, even the drip, if you would like, again, you could copy all that and test it out for yourself. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you like switching out, a weapon, an armor mod, something on, under the subclass, definitely let me know, because I'm willing to test stuff out in this game. I'm doing it all the time. In any event, if what you saw was valuable or entertaining to you, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and then turn that bell next to notifications so you don't miss out on another build video here on the channel. If you didn't know, we actually stream live on YouTube and also on Kick. That link will be in the description. Again, YouTube is mainly for Destiny 2 content, and Kick is for a little more variety. We are going to be playing a lot of Destiny 2, PvE, PvP, Crota's in, raid helps, dungeon stuff. Whatever it is, again, if you want to hop in for that, just hop in the chat. We'll figure something out. And if you want to be proactive, join my Discord. Again, people are looking to play Destiny 2 together. We have ways to create voice chats in there and whatnot. But we also have people talking about other games, PC tech, anime, and more. Lastly, if you want to support the channel even more, you can look into becoming a member. If you don't know what a membership is essentially like a Twitch subscription. Again, you're going to gain access to the exclusive emotes, the monthly badges, and other cool stuff here that can be used on the live stream and in the comments. So if you would like more information, all you need to do is press the join button next subscribe, and that will give you a rundown with all the details you need. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been your boy. We'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.